Welcome to another edition of TSA Safety Matters. I'm your host, Greg Kerr from Stakeholder Relations, and today we're with Mike Adams, TSSA's Director for Boilers and Pressure Vessels and Operating Engineers, for a few thoughts on what's happening in both industries and TSA's important role in public safety across the province. So thanks for being with us today, Mike.
Well, thanks, Greg, for this opportunity to get the word out.
Excellent. Now, I know it's something you do a lot in terms of getting the word out, and you meet a lot of industry people, and you go to colleges, you speak at conferences. One of the things that I think you've been working on that's important is the skills shortage in promoting power engineering. How's that been going in respect to colleges?
Oh, with respect to the colleges, it's been going quite well, actually. We just had a meeting of all seven TSA certified colleges last month in Thunder Bay. We do these every year, and it's an excellent provincial collaboration opportunity where we identify issues and we identify solutions and then implement them. This time last year at our meeting, we had identified that there is a bottleneck in the OE certification process for the college students, and that being co-op placements. The colleges were having difficulties finding finding sufficient co-op placements as part of their program. So we met last year. We identified a three-pronged approach to how we're going to fix it. Those three prongs were basically identifying additional plants where students could get their co-op experience. We put together a joint letter from the Institute of Power Engineers and TSSA, and sent that to every single attended plant in Ontario to encourage those plants to take on co-op students, and why it's to their best interest and it's for the future of the profession. And the third prong was developing what we call a chiefs list, which is a list of all the attended plants and all the chiefs and their contact points that the colleges could use to contact the colleges to discuss the opportunities for co-op placements. So we put that into place over the year, and as confirmed at last month's college meeting, it was a success in that none of the colleges had any difficulties in finding co-op placements this year. So that was a good example of collaboration at work, and we're going to continue that and keep reissuing that message out to industry. And so that was one significant improvement that we've made over the last year on the colleges for OE students.
Why do you think the backlog existed in the first place, or the bottleneck existed in the first place? Was it just lack of awareness, or?
It was several contributing factors. Lack of awareness was the predominant one. Also, the plants that we recognized was smaller, so we had another look at which plants students could get useful practical experience, and we redefined that, and that increased the number from, say, 250 to about 400 plants.
Excellent.
That would be recognized by TSSA.
Mm-hmm. It's nice to find that balance and that cooperation at that level in order to benefit everyone, right?
Yes, it certainly is.
Mm-hmm. They've been working on other processes to benefit others, particularly in operating engineers. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, one of the things that we just implemented is we've drastically simplified the certification application process for operating engineers. We used to have about a 6-7 page application form full of redundant requirements. We've simplified that to 2 pages. And with very simplified guidelines and processes for confirming the certification requirements were met. We've simplified our processes here at TSSA, so the turnaround time for those applications are now much, much quicker than previous, and we can respond. We can do it on a same day if specifically requested by the applicant. Mm-hmm. So we've drastically improved the certification process and the application form. Mm-hmm. So that's part of that was the standardizing the accreditation of all 7 operating engineer colleges in Ontario. And that has also worked out very well. Everybody is now, all the colleges are now certified just like they are for the other safety programs with TSSA. So we've been quite busy in that area, and it's been very well appreciated by both the colleges and the students, or the applicants for their certificates. So very good process improvements there.
What's the typical turnaround that you would have on it? I know you say you can do it within 1 day, but on average?
I don't have those numbers with me. I'd have to talk to the team leader for that to see what the throughput is. I do know feedback from the field is that it is much, much shorter than it used to be. We've also hired additional resources to assist in the examination, marking the examinations during peak periods. So that will also help when we get to minimize any backlog during peak periods.
Excellent. Okay. Now I know you often you have your eye on a lot of things, and sometimes issues show up. You've had some piping issues that in BPV. Maybe you could explain a little bit about that.
Yes, we're finding out that one of the requirements on the BPV regulation is that when any pressure piping is being repaired, it's supposed to be inspected both before and after the repair is made on the pressure piping by either a TSSA boiler inspector or an insurance boiler inspector. And we're finding more and more that this is not being done in some plants. So we're going to be going into a communication blitz to remind all owners that repairs need to be inspected by BP inspector on pressure piping, especially if welding is involved, or if they're making any kind of modification, then they have to be registered with TSSA, because that's a modification to the piping registration number, and we need to recertify that piping. So we have to make sure that those activities are being undertaken by the owners. It's a legal requirement, and we have to make sure that all owners are aware of that requirement.
Is there a misunderstanding in terms of like minor repairs versus major repairs? Is that sort of where the
the major
area is?
No, it's more the minor repairs. The major repairs, the owners realize that they have to get any significant repairs authorized and inspected by either TSSA or the insurers. So it's the smaller jobs that we're finding out that they may be falling through the cracks, so to speak. So you just want to fill in those cracks.
Okay. Have inspectors seen things that they've brought to owners' attentions that they might have missed in doing those repairs?
Not so much. The funny thing is, I'm getting most of my feedback from employees of the plants that are not getting piping repairs inspected. So in one regard, that's very good that those folks feel comfortable enough to contact us to let us know that these issues are occurring and that they have safety concerns. So we're taking these issues very seriously, and that's why one of the initiatives for this year will be to do a blitz on notifying all owner-operators of their requirements whenever they have any maintenance or repairs done for their high-pressure piping systems.
It's nice when they play by the safety book, huh?
Yes, definitely.
Perfect. Now, you're looking into some more innovative things as well with new technologies. What's up the sleeve now? Well,
we're looking into something called electronic diaries. Right now, the codes and standards require that all manufacturers we maintain a diary for all the 12 process steps in the manufacturing process for a pressure vessel, and these are all on paper-bound diaries, and we're looking at making those electronic.
Are those essentially logbooks, or
Yes.
what? Yeah.
Some other programs call them logbooks. For us, they're diaries because they're a diary of the life cycle of the construction of a pressure vessel. So right now they are on paper, and if we had to do any analysis or research into the history of that pressure vessel, it's all there on paper, but finding it is quite difficult.
It's been around for like 30 years, right? So.
Well, yes. And so we're looking at doing it electronically. All that information is in the cloud, so to speak, and securely in the cloud. And then we would be looking at if there were questions on a particular device, we'd be able to find that information much, much more quickly and reliably.
Do you think you could even access it remotely?
Oh, definitely. It would have to be remote because it's in the cloud.
Yeah.
And that's one of the requirements of the National Board Inspection Code, is that it has to be available by the NBIC or by the supervisors or head office. So so that's an exciting opportunity that we're now ramping up to have a really close look at for implementation.
So did the National Board make that recommendation, or is it something that the TSSA put forward?
We are leading the pack.
Yeah.
The National Board recognizes the opportunity for electronic diaries. However, not a single jurisdiction in North America uses it yet. So we're looking at, so why not be the first?
So we would develop the sort of software, or what role would we play?
Well, we've already identified the preliminary requirements for it, and we're looking at incorporating that into our TSA 2020 program to make sure that the solution that's being developed for all of TSA can accommodate the requirements for capturing all the information that is part of a shop inspection.
So for not everyone knows what TSA 2020 is, maybe you can sort of address what that is.
Yes, TSA 2020 is is a program in TSA to modernize our processes and our IT infrastructure to support those processes. And so a lot of exciting opportunities there, especially on the customer-facing part, where we right now are, for instance, to renew an OE certificate, you can't do it electronically. You have to come to the office or mail in your check or phone with your visa number, or we can do it electronically with a wire transfer.
Yeah.
So TSA 2020 will convert that to a modern portal where you can just log in and put in the required information, provide your number, and then bang, you're already it's all done. You're certified. You get your certificate in the PDF, and you're done in 5 minutes. So that's one of the things we're going to be doing for TSA 2020.
You also have new applications of technologies that have surfaced quite recently, one specifically with organic Rankine cycle. Maybe you can explain a little bit about what that is for people that aren't aware of it, and how it sort of fell through the gaps.
Okay. Well, organic Rankine cycle systems, people are calling it a new technology. It's not. It's just a new application to an existing technology. Your standard power boiler is a water-based Rankine cycle system. Boiler makes steam, goes to a steam turbine, generates power, and then it's recycled. An organic Rankine cycle is the same thing, except it doesn't use water. It uses a different working fluid, usually which has a lower boiling point, so it can use low-grade waste heat to generate electricity. This falls through the cracks on the OE regulation because the OE regulation addresses only water-based systems. So we've done a safety case analysis on this and determined that yes, the organic Rankine cycle systems should be regulated as just like any other Rankine cycle system in Ontario. However, the safety aspects of the organic Rankine cycle systems have been proven to be less lower risk than a steam-based system. So we're proposing that they be regulated with much higher attendance thresholds than with steam systems. To that
If
end,
it's a lower risk, why would you need higher attendance?
no, thresholds.
Oh, thresholds.
Yeah, higher thresholds. So instead of me being a steam system, for instance, needs to be attended at 10 megawatts, that limit could be 30 megawatts for an ORC. And I'm just using those examples as an example, those numbers as an example. To that end, we've issued a safety bulletin on our website, which closes on the 15th of July, where we're highlighting the whole background for ORCs and what our proposal is for industry on how we'd like to move forward on this. So,
So you're looking for feedback?
Feedback from industry, from the public. That's why it's been on our website for the last month or so, and there's
on our
points
blog site as well.
on our blog site, our website. I've been flogging this at the various meetings that I've been attending. So we're getting feedback from industry and from the public on organic Rankine cycles systems, and that feedback will be presented to the ministry as part of the OE regulatory review process.
Why wouldn't it fit within the BPV regulation?
It does fit in the BPV regulation. So all the pressure components, evaporators, pressure piping, still need a Canadian registration number and a piping registration number in order to be constructed and assembled in Ontario. So it's covered under BPV because the BPV definition of a boiler includes any fluid, not just water. Whereas on operating engineering, the boiler definition is water only.
So what are some of the key elements of what we're suggesting for the safety guideline?
Well, we're recognizing the ORCs. We've standardized how we're going to rate them, and then we've set much higher thresholds for attendance.
As you mentioned, yeah.
So we've used a qualitative risk-based method to assess risk, and we've determined that yes, they should be regulated, but they fall far to the right on the risk table for our other Rankine cycle systems. So we're comfortable now. We've got it in the right spot. Now we're just getting feedback and presenting that information to the ministry.
You've also been tackling some concerns with natural gas fueling stations.
Well, I wouldn't call them concerns. That is a new application that's coming to Ontario. Compressed natural gas systems have been around in Ontario for quite a while.
Or the liquefied natural gas?
No, this is compressed natural gas. LNG is a totally different story. Yeah. But for compressed natural gas, we have over 60 plants in Ontario already, of which 3/4 of them are unattended. Now, these are basically remote stations for pipelines. We do have a few other compressed natural gas systems as part of industry. But what's new is the municipalities have recognized that natural gas can fuel their fleet of vehicles. So now they're looking at fueling stations for compressed natural gas, which of course require natural gas compressors. We've got 3 operational sites right now in Ontario, and 2 more coming in the city of Toronto. They want to use natural gas to power their waste truck fleet. So we're working with our clients to determine how best to size the plants to minimize or to balance safety with economics, to see how they can staff the plant, or if it's large enough to be, what's the optimal level of staffing, or if it can keep it below the current threshold, it could be an unattended plant. So we're working with proponents for compressed natural gas fueling stations to identify the optimal configuration. So again, it's not a new technology, it's a new application of the natural gas. So it's quite interesting to see some of the innovative ideas that some people are coming up with on how to address these issues.
What are some of the innovative ideas?
Well, little things like interlocks to make sure, you can have 3 compressors, but you can only use 2 at the same time, and that keeps it below a certain threshold. they have opportunities to use either a fourth-class operating engineer or a compressor operator certificate. These things that a lot of the people who are looking at these ideas, they're unaware of. So we're glad to meet with them, and these are your options. And more often than not, the outcome of those meetings is very, very positive.
Excellent. And they're mostly dealing with their own. They provide service to their own fleets, right? It's not
Correct.
open to the public at all.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not aware of any compressed natural gas sites yet. There may be on the fuel side, but they may be the capacity for the individual pumps may be well below our exempt limit.
Or the conversion for cars to natural gas might be not that popular yet,
Yet.
right? So.
Propane, yes, but I'm not aware of natural gas yet.
Well, you're entering into new sort of regulatory realms, but you're also looking at modernizing regulations for both BPV and OE. What's been happening in that regard?
A lot's been happening. It's the old beware what you wish for, because we've been asking to get the OE and the BPV regulations refreshed for a long time, and then suddenly the decision was, yes, we'll do the refresh and we'll do the rewrite, and we're going to do both at the same time. So we're struggling to keep up with that workflow. For the BPV regulation, we've had roundtable sessions with industry now, and we've received a lot of really good feedback. We're only looking at refreshing the in-service inspection side of the BPV regulation, because we're currently not in compliance with respect to the certificate of inspection of who issues that. So we're working with our insurer partners and stakeholders to clarify who should be doing what and provide some better oversight on periodic inspections for BPVs. So the roundtable sessions occurred this spring, and we're now working with the ministry to determine what the way ahead for the BPV regulation update should look like, and ideally that will come to fruition this fall, and then go through the provincial regulatory review process of public consultation, a much wider public consultation. For the OE regulation, we're doing a total rewrite of the OE regulation, because it is basically obsolete compared to what's going on right now for OE. So we've had...
So it would probably cover something like organic Rankine cycle.
Well, yes, that's definitely one of the many issues that we're looking at. And we are looking at, like I say, a total rewrite. We've had several rounds of stakeholder sessions, feedback opportunities for us. We've commissioned a study of a jurisdictional scan of 11 other jurisdictions and how they regulate operating engineering, or power engineering as it's called everywhere else but Ontario. And we have also engaged a consultant to help develop what we call a scope paper to address all the concerns of all stakeholders for OE. And then once all that's done, this fall we'll have a similar roundtable session like we did for BPV this spring to further hash out a proposal and a way ahead for OE. So this is going to be a very consultative process, and I'm looking forward to getting the feedback from. The experience we had from the BPV side was very, very enlightening, and very worthwhile. And I'm pretty sure that the ministry also received a lot of excellent face-to-face feedback on what the real issues were. So learning from that, I'm expecting an equally beneficial process for OE.
Well, I mean, we consult in many other ways.
Yep.
We have risk reduction groups where we work with industry. It's always this sort of collaborative approach anyway, because they're at the end of the day, they're the ones who are responsible for the safety of the device, right? So,
well, it's a shared responsibility.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. Now you are also promoting both power engineering and boilers and pressure vessels, and your director outreach. You've been to a couple of conferences in the past couple of months. How did that go?
Oh, very well. I've been presenting at the Institute of Power Engineers, 2 branch meetings in Kingston in April and Windsor in May. Those go very well. A lot of it was just presenting the information that's going on with what's in the field, and it's very, very well received. Just last week I was at the Canadian Boiler Society doing something similar for both OE and BPV. Again, people want to know what's going on, and it's an opportunity for me to get feedback from them about, okay, this is what we're doing. Are we on track? Are there any issues that are being missed? And so far, our work and what we're focusing on seems to be bang on. So we're getting really good feedback from that. I also attend the Canadian Boiler Machinery Underwriters Association meetings. Next one is next week, and talking about the same thing, the way ahead for TSSA and the insurance industry, and how we're going to keep Ontario safe with respect to periodic inspections for boilers. So yes, it's keeps me busy getting out there and communicating what we're up to and looking for feedback. But it's all very worthwhile, and that's how we can make the best decisions, is when we have varied feedback from all stakeholders.
Do they have other speakers at the conferences? Like you're usually a guest speaker, and then they have other.
Well, some of them.
presenters?
Let's see. For the IPE, it was I was the speaker. Canadian Boiler Society, there were must have been about a dozen or so other speakers, all on the technical aspects of boilers. The CBMUA meetings. These are just a meeting. I'm a guest at those meetings, and it's all that's the engineering group of all the insurers as they discuss engineering issues on the insurance industry. So it's a wide variety of participants and for these sessions.
And do you walk away with anything new or like things that you hadn't thought about before?
Yes, I can't think of one right now. The last one, there was, I think the loudest thing was "good job."
Yeah.
So, by one of the leading proponents at the meeting. So it was, it's refreshing to get confirmation that we're focusing on the right things.
Excellent.
ORCs was typically comes up, and that safety bulletin that I encourage everyone to go take a look at was well received, and we put a lot of work into it, and I think it's a good document that explains it, and I think we have a sound way ahead for it. So, like I say, anybody watching this, I encourage you to go have a look at that safety bulletin.
What's the deadline again?
For feedback, the 15th of July.
15th of July.
But the bulletin will be there permanently, and I will always take your phone call or email afterwards. So,
excellent. So how else are you doing outreach?
Well, going out with my team when they do periodic inspections, I try to get out to meet the manufacturers, various associations. I'm the Ontario representative for the Association of Chief Inspectors, and we have meetings to discuss what's going on in each other's jurisdiction. With National Board, we have meetings to see what's going on in the North America on the various issues on both boilers and pressure vessel and operating engineering. So these are all things that keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on in North America.
Excellent. Well, it's a lot on the go and a lot going forward in terms of both promoting safety and improving safety. So it's quite excellent.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to share this, and this is just a tip of the iceberg of all the things that are going on, and have to save some stuff for the next video blog.
Excellent.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Stay tuned for more TSSA Safety Matters.